AITA for telling my girlfriend she doesn't understand real life. I'm male 23 year, my GF is female 21 year, and we've been together for about 2 years now. Now I come from a very middle class family. Dad's a blue collar worker and mom has been working since I was a kid as well. My GF's family is filthy rich and even she'll admit she's spoiled. Everything paid for and a 3k a month allowance. Because of this she's never had a job, doesn't care about school really. She's doing fine though, but in a easy program, or about having to make money in the future. My car broke down recently, and I've been taking the bus/subway to work, and she's been razzing me about it, saying it's sketchy taking public transport etc. I told her I'm saving up again for a Honda, and will get it next month. She just tells me to ask my parents for the money or dip into my savings. I told her she has no idea how most people live real life, so she shouldn't be giving out financial advice, because her dad funds her whole life. She got very pissed at me and said that she's not dumb and so on, and basically called me a huge asshole. Her friends also contacted me and told me to apologize to her, and her friends are the exact same way. Spoiled rich white girls who go to Western. My Ontario mans will get this one. I told them to kick rocks. Hi fellow Californian, as someone who also makes less than $3k a month and has a family, I too want to die. Thankful my spouse works as well, and we can make rent between taxes and gas and food cost. Life is rough. This chick makes $3k a month just cause some of us would be thrilled to take home that amount after taxes. Every time I tell my coworkers I want to die as a joke, they get all up in arms about it. OMG, why are you okay? You don't have to pay bills when you're dead, Karen. Edit. Before I get all yelled at that death isn't funny, I had ADHD, depression. Suicide jokes were my coping mechanism while I went to therapy and worked my life out. Old habits die hard. I apologize if it upsets anyone. As a wealthy rich girl, I second that. I'm not that spoiled, and I do understand people don't get to ask their parents when they are in need. But my so told me I didn't understand real life, and TBH, he was right. To me, it's not even a possibility to end up in the street. I have a very large supportive family, a lot of people I could count on if anything happened, and whom I'd be comfortable to ask for help if I needed to, and whom I'd offer help on a whim too. So, while I have common sense, yeah, sometimes I don't think of all the things most people have to think about constantly, and it was fair for my so to tell me that. But he was much nicer about it than Op were. He gave no explanation whatsoever. Just went straight up to telling her she is ignorant. As a white girl from a wealthy family who 100% understands my privilege, I do take slight umbrage with the use of the term real life. Like, I get that many people don't come from families that give them advantages I have been lucky enough to have, and there are some things that I conceptually understand but don't have experience with, such as student loans, but my life is not less real. It is just less difficult in some ways. I think it's important to say this wealth is real. This privilege is real. Now what can I do with it when it isn't regarded as real life? It's easier, in my observation, to not have to take responsibility for it. I don't know if this makes sense or not. I agree, it's definitely a thing in other languages too. I'm not super wealthy, very middle class in my country, but I've been told the same, because I haven't worked full time yet. I just finished high school this summer, and it's always to put me down. Saying I don't live in the real world is about much more than money. It implies I can't have difficulties, that heartbreaks or stress don't matter as much, because I've never worked full time. It's such a bullshit term. I'm not misinterpreting, because 88% of the time, it's sad to say it, if I've been complaining about school or part-time work or something. The real world also includes kids, you know, they live here too. The real world isn't limited to full-time adults with low wages. It's sad to say it, if I've been complaining about school or part-time work or something. The real world also includes kids, you know, they live here too. The real world isn't limited to full-time adults with low wages. So true. And I agree with you, just because someone's life is not the same as yours doesn't mean people don't know what real life is. Someone can be inexperienced regarding finances, for example, as opposed to other people who have had tough financial times, but they can be way more experienced in dealing with sickness and death in their family. You never know. Does that mean you also don't know about real life just because you didn't need to deal with sick and dying family members? Rhetoric. Of course not. Edit. What's the most real thing about life anyway? Death. We are all walking towards it. We will all experience it. And somehow, money is what's considered knowing about real life. People get really uptight because of this just when it concerns money. As if money and work is the only thing about real life. Obviously is one of the most important things, since it's what governs your ability and quality of living. But it isn't the only thing about life. I've seen a bunch of people who know about money and having to work hard because they weren't born in wealth, etc., but who know jack shit about other aspects and areas of the rest of real life. People get really uptight because of this just when it concerns money. As if money and work is the only thing about real life. Obviously is one of the most important things, since it's what governs your ability and quality of living. But it isn't the only thing about life. I've seen a bunch of people who know about money and having to work hard because they weren't born in wealth, etc., but who know jack shit about other aspects and areas of the rest of real life. By logic, they also don't know about real life because they only know about X% of life and not the entirety of it. Oh, and going off on a bigger tangent, theirs isn't anyone that knows about the entirety of real life. We are all in our own journeys with our own obstacles and struggles. Practically no one experiences everything someone can in a lifetime. So basically no one knows about real life because you can only know about your own real life, not the entirety of others' real life. PS. Again, I know normally people only talk about this real life when it's about money and work, so I know where they are coming from, but I wanted to dive deeper into the topic in itself.